Hey everybody, Seth V here for the KnifeCenter, filling in this week because it's new knife time. Let's check out the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves. First up, we've got a trio of new knives from Real Steel. And this might be a little familiar to you because this is a new locking version of the Luna slip joint. This is the Luna Eco, designed by Poltergeist Works, and it's got a frame lock. Stainless steel in this case, and also a detachable thumb stud that makes it easy to open one hand. I suppose some people might see these as improvements. I think it certainly makes the knife a lot faster and more accessible. This design, though, is still the great Luna that's been quite popular. It's a perfect little size for most people. I can get a full 4 fingers on here. The blade stock is relatively thin, got a nice full flat grind with a good distal taper, so this is going to be a great slicer, great EDC knife. Even though the thumb stud is detachable, normally those tend to feel a little awkward or kind of tacked on to a design, but here, as you can see, it's quite a ways back and actually out of the path of the edge, so it shouldn't get in the way when you're trying to use this. And if you live in a place where you can have locking knives but not one-handed opening knives, you can always just take off the thumb stud, open it with 2 hands, and now you got a locking Luna. This version has K110 blade steel, which I sort of like to think of as like a brand name D2. Good stuff, not technically stainless, but excellent edge retention for the price, which, by the way, is $48.50. Nice deep carry pocket clip here as well. Flush, so that there's no screw heads to kind of catch on your pocket. Very smooth in and out. Not gonna tear up your pants. And yeah, pretty good action. Pops open quite well. One thing I noticed, this is a fun little detail. Well, fun to me at least. If you don't touch the frame lock when you close this knife, you get a nice little note. Always fun to, I don't know, notice little details like that. Next up, a new version of the Real Steel Gslip Compact. Comes with these cool gray G10 handles, VG10 blade steel, and just like the original, nice deep carry wire pocket clip. So I don't know if it's just me, I haven't handled one of these in a while, but the back spring on these feels extra crisp this time around. Nice tension, very authoritative snap into place, really holds that blade open confidently. So even though, of course, slip joints are not locking knives, you got a good amount of confidence here to put this knife to work without any second thoughts. This is designed by Ostap Hell, as you might be able to guess from this sort of signature little dip here at the heel of the blade spine. Blade spine actually is crowned as well, nice soft feel to match the slightly crowned back spring. So in hand, this just has, it's grippy on the scales, but it has a smooth, kind of luxurious feel to it, which is nice for a knife that costs $54.80. VG10 blade steel, if I didn't mention that already. Deep carry wire pocket clip, and Real Steel's characteristic little 1/3 stop. This is sort of a safety feature, you know, if you happen to disengage the blade, it will stop here before it closes on your fingers, but it also kind of just makes the opening action a little more satisfying. You get it there and then very confident opening. These are slightly smaller than the full-sized G-slips, which you might be able to guess from the name Compact. And I think it suits the design maybe even better. Still got plenty of handle to work with. It's definitely a slim knife, but feels very light, dexterous, fast. Definitely the kind of thing you want when you're reaching for a simple pocket knife. Nice hidden lanyard standoff here, so no ugly hole in the handle, but you can still attach a lanyard if you wish. Yeah, just a simple design done right. Finally, new from Real Steel, another version of the Stella slip joint. Like the first knife we looked at, the Luna, this one is also designed by Poltergeist Works. You can see his little logo here, lasered on the blade, this squashed skull. Always kind of liked that logo. And yeah, great crisp spring on this one too. Good walk and talk. This is a little larger than the Luna. Let me put them side by side so you can see. Just under 3 inches of blade versus 2.75 on the Luna. So a little bigger, but not a big knife by any means. Not sure what to call this blade shape. I'm gonna go with modified Wharncliffe. Feels right today.
Not reverse Tanto?
Not quite, or at all. VG10 steel on this, $79.60 right now on the website. I think the price point's a little higher, perhaps because of some of the little extra details here. Check out, for example, this floating back spring. Kind of gives you a little view between the scales there. Also a nice milled titanium pocket clip. Very classy in the pocket. Again, plenty of handle to hold on to. Not a knife you're probably ever going to really be gripping hard, but comfortable. Should suit most hands well. One of the things I like both on the Luna and this Stella is this little run of jimping here. Usually, you know, we tend to see jimping on the spine of the blade to catch your thumb, but I rather like it here because it guards your fingers from the sharp edge without giving you a guard that stops you. Instead, it's just a little bit of texture that you can feel and know, okay, I'm close to the edge, you know exactly where you are. It definitely gives you a little bit of extra confidence when you're putting this knife to work. We've got that 1/3 stop again, and great walk and talk. This one is particularly easy to pinch open. We've got plenty of clearance to grab the blade here. Almost maybe a little bit of a nod to an easy open notch or something like that from an old-fashioned slip joint. Super easy to open, satisfying to close. Keeping with the red theme here, I guess, we've got a new KnifeCenter exclusive version of the Mike Bond TI2 design Techliner Super Shorty pen. The name has got to be longer than the pen itself because this is only 4 inches closed. Well,
luckily it's our pen that could write the rest out.
Exactly. Capped, it's not much longer, but still long enough to comfortably kind of rest against your palm there in a grip. And the thing that really, I think, inspired us to want to do a KnifeCenter exclusive version is the magnetic functionality you get here. It's really satisfying. Both ends of the pen are magnetized and there's a little magnet in the cap. So when you go to cap it, it just springs into place practically. Look at that. The magnet in the tail end of the pen is actually strong enough to attach to something metallic. Got a Victorinox compact here. Check it out. Whoop. Plenty strong enough to hold its own weight. So, you know, if you're working around metallic stuff, you don't want your pen to walk away from you, you can stick it to something and come back to it. These are $36.95 right now on the website. And they make just a great addition to your EDC, you know, small enough to tuck anywhere, stays out of the way, fun, almost fidget-friendly, magnetic action, and just a cool-looking, solid aluminum, well-built pen for a good price. This comes equipped out of the box with a black Schmidt Megaline cartridge. It's compatible with any Fisher Space Pen refill, so there's tons of other options out there if you're interested in other colors, other brands, etc. Yeah, just a great, well-made, solid aluminum pen with a little extra cool magnetic functionality. Okay, let's go small for a minute. We've got a new version of the Spyderco Manbug. The Manbug is the same proportions as the Ladybug, which means a 1.9 inch blade and a definitely no more than 3-finger grip, but it's a little broader, so you have a bit more to hang on to. This version, VG10 steel and a fully serrated edge. I am gonna go out on a limb and say that a lot of enthusiasts are not super into serrated edges, given how well plain edges sell in comparison, but don't knock it till you try it. Especially on a small, straight little edge like this, you will be surprised by how much extra cutting power this has. In addition to kind of working a little bit like a saw, giving you some extra aggression to rip and tear through things, it actually adds quite a bit of extra edge length from all these extra little curves in there, so it kind of feels like a larger knife. And when your knife is this small, that can go a long way to giving you some extra usefulness. These are going for $55.30 right now on the website. Great little knives for just dropping in the pocket and forgetting about, even attaching to a keychain. They are compact when closed, but still easy to open with one hand. Nice, kind of all the modern features of a pocket knife, except for a pocket clip that you'd expect from Spyderco in a tiny little package. On to a couple of small custom fixed blades. We've got the Mini Cleaver and the Guppy from Nichols Knives. I'll start with the Mini Cleaver. Apart from just kind of the charming lines of this that are inspired by a kitchen cleaver and perhaps from Nichols' own experience as a chef before he became a knife maker, what sets this version apart are these teak wood handles. The wood is actually reclaimed from a battleship, the USS North Carolina, apparently the most decorated battleship in all of World War II. Pretty cool piece of history living on these knives, and a beautiful piece of wood besides. Teak was used on battleships and all sorts of boats because it is exceptionally water resistant, which makes it a great handle material. It's going to be resistant to the elements while still having the beautiful character of real natural wood. The handles are shaped quite well. You know, like that Manbug, this is a 3-fingered knife for sure, even for me with my skinny little fingers, but it's comfortable, especially with a lanyard. I think it feels like quite a full grip. They're nice and thick, so you still have some meat to hold on to here. I wouldn't necessarily use this as a cleaver, but as a cool EDC fixed blade, I think it would be excellent. Crowned spine here keeps it comfy for choking up on. Hand-hammered finish for some cool character on the blade. We got the cleaver style dangler hook, and this knife comes in at $299.95. Both the Mini Cleaver and the Guppy next up have Nitro V blade steel and a similar pouch style leather sheath. So let me show you this. The Guppy, the main difference here is really just the blade shape. The handles to me feel just about identical. I think the Cleaver has a bit more of a hook here at the end, a bit broader. Feels a little beefier. The Guppy, just a touch slimmer, but still has that hand-filling feel. It sort of suits, I think, the much more aggressive and more delicate tip. Well, not quite delicate, but certainly very precise. This is a good splinter picker for sure. Same teak wood handles on this. Great feel, very water resistant. I think between the two, and not that you asked me, but I think this one is my favorite. I would carry this one as a little EDC fixed blade. I would appreciate that extra dexterity there at the tip. I like this long clip point shape, very cool. And I can show you the sheath on this one because it's right here. We've got a nice sort of scout style, natural leather sheath embossed with the maker's mark. Very cool stuff. Moving from more expensive custom small fixed blades to a very affordable production knife, we have a new version of the Morakniv Cans Bowl. Nope, this is the Eldris. It is one of my favorite knives. I know that my job here today is to sell you these knives. I have to say, this is one I think everybody should own. Seriously, the Eldris is a phenomenal little fixed blade, great first fixed blade for somebody. I keep one in my stuff drawer and I use it constantly. This new version, rather than having sort of a compound grind, if you're familiar with the older version, just has a simple Scandi grind, and it's not quite as precisely finished. It's kind of got the just generically polished Mora finish. It's not a bad thing by any means because these come in under $20 at $18.95. So you definitely get, you save a few bucks by sacrificing that extra little attention to fit and finish. These do not have a crisp spine, but it does make them quite comfortable for choking up on with your thumb, pushing through some cuts. Although the blade is so small that your thumb's gonna get in the way of whatever you're cutting there. Luckily, the handle is super comfortable, symmetrical. These are just so great. They really just make you smile when you pick them up. They're small, they're charming, they work great, they're tougher than you think. Really an essential knife if you dig these Mora knives, in my opinion. Stainless steel, so not gonna rust on you, but I believe it's Sandvik 12C27, which is tough, quite tough for a stainless steel. Nice Scandi grind, so aggressive behind the edge. Gonna be a good carver, with the blade stock still being thin enough to get some slicing tasks done as well. These come with a color-matched sheath that simply snaps into place. There we go. And these are available in 3 new colors. This looks like the mint green, but it's also available in dusty blue and dark gray. All right, one more small fixed blade on the table here. This is a new one from Bastinelli Creations. This is the BB Drago, and what makes this one special is this awesome cast lanyard bead. Check that thing out. Not only is it quite long and substantial, but the detail of this casting is pretty next level. We've got these sort of stacked skulls here. This, like many of the knives we've talked about today, definitely a small grip. I've got, 2.5 fingers on here, but thanks to that oversized lanyard, I'm definitely able to get all 4 fingers around something, and it makes it feel like a much more substantial knife for sure. Blade shape, we've got this cool kind of clip sheep's foot thing going on, very utilitarian. This would make a great utility knife, I think. You've even got clearance to, I wouldn't say chop, but you got clearance to work against a surface, whether it's a cutting mat or a cutting board. Definitely, this is a knife that's not gonna get in your way of that kind of cutting. Being made by Fox Knives of Italy, we've got all crowned everything here in the full tang between your fingers. It's nice and soft isn't the right word. It's been rounded.
Softened.
It's been softened. Feels nice. Nice stone wash to go with the hard working vibes of this thing. Contoured, smooth G10 handles. It is definitely a more premium knife at $240, but a lot of your budget is going to this very intricate bead here. As for the sheath, we've got a little Kydex affair with a pull-the-dot strap that is movable, so you can attach it to your belt in any direction you feel like. I cannot neglect to mention that the steel on these is N690. Good stainless stuff. One thing that's nice with these small knives with the finger grooves is when you go to take the knife out of the sheath, it's already in the same grip you're going to use to cut with. So this is a very fast knife. Okay, another one from Bastinelli. We're getting back into folder territory here. This is the Mako. We've seen the Mako before. This one is new in that it is partially serrated and has these crazy detailed cast handles. In this case, it looks like the casting was done by Two Saints Tactical, and the design is a collaboration between Bastinelli and Doug Marcada. Unlike your more typical karambit style knives, the blade on this one is not a hawkbill blade. It's not swept down, it's swept up, which I rather like because it means that you're going to get a bit more general utility out of a super tactical design like this. But the real star of the show here it's got to be these scales. I mean, yeah, just the depth of this casting, the details, these skulls, it's just awesome. I like the weathered look on here. Underneath the cool scales, you've got that proven fox knife quality. I particularly like how the ring on these knives is solid, so it makes it very comfortable when you're manipulating this knife, turning it around. There's no edges to grab on. There's no hollowness that pinches your fingers. Just feels smooth and confident. You may have noticed that there is no thumb stud or flipper tab on this knife, and that's because it's meant to be deployed straight out of the pocket with this aggressive little ramp here, catches on the seam of your pants, and pops right open. It's quite easy to do, and yeah, nothing faster than a knife that's already open before you even hardly finish taking it out of your pocket.
So maybe a fixed blade.
Except a fixed blade. A new one from Halfbreed. This is part of their compact clearance series, and what's new with this is the Tanto blade. We've got a compound grind here, hollow through the main section of the edge and flat towards the tip for added strength. These are quite beefy little guys. That is a blade thickness of 6 millimeters, which is quite substantial. These are going to be super strong. Blade steel is D2. This one has a nice Cerakote finish. I think it's available in a number of different colors. And these skinny little G10 handles give you just enough to hold on to, wrap your hand around. This is very much a kind of a last-ditch concealed type of knife. I think with this handle, it's not going to be something you're going to want to pull out and use all the time for utility cutting. The sheath here is molded plastic, nice and lightweight. Holds the blade very quietly, and we've got a MOLLE compatible attachment plate at the back here. But as a super tough, super fast, chunky little fixed blade, I think it is going to serve quite well. Moving on to another tactical folder with kind of the same colors.
Doesn't look like a folder.
True, it's not a folder. It is an OTF, a new version of the excellent SOG Pentagon. These are really cool because for a production OTF that you can get your hands on, they are the most solid in terms of their lockup. That is thanks to an extra little bit of engineering ingenuity here. We've got it might be a little hard to see, but we've got a little extra piece that sort of wedges itself in there. As a result, this might be the best one I've felt yet. I can't even detect just a hint of wiggle. Yeah, super, super solid. The steel on these is S35VN. We've got almost 4 inches of blade, 3.8 looks like. And what's new here technically is just the colorway. Flat dark earth aluminum handles with that contrasting black liners and blade to go with it. Super cool look. If you have a lot of FDE gear, I mean, this is made for you. It's going to fit right in. The design itself, I quite like. The clip is not ambidextrous, but that's because the design is inherently ambidextrous. We've got the firing switch on the front of the knife, so whether you're right or left-handed, you're going to have the exact same experience. Price on these, $349.95 right now. Definitely expensive, but when you compare it to other OTFs that lock up with such security, like the Grant and Gavin Hawk Deadlock, coming in at over $1,000 if you can find one, maybe it's a little bit of a value.
Bargain.
It's a positive bargain in comparison. I quite like the design of the switch as well. Got this kind of triple scooped thing going on. It matches the little finger scallops here in the handle, and makes it very easy to push and pull it. It's not a hard OTF to actuate at all. Super nice job. We've got another dagger on the table. This one is a fixed blade from EOS. Little boot knife here called the Mini Thresher. These come in at $235, USA made from CPM 3V steel. This is a true dagger, so we've got the edges on both sides sharpened all the way to the tip. The handles on this version look like aluminum. We've got some nice kind of complex milling going on. These cool little chevrons that are continued up onto the blade. Nice little detail. Yeah, despite the all-metal construction, it's a fairly lightweight knife. Feels pretty fast in hand. Got this cool pommel with a striking point at the end here. We've got this available now with G10 scales as well, if you prefer to spend a little less money. This aluminum one, I gotta say, is pretty sweet, though. Get that, just that precision manufacturing that EOS does so well. The sheath that comes with this knife is Kydex with a Techlock style attachment for your belt. Cool little EOS badge here between two of the rivets. Nice stuff. Very snappy, confident hold. Kydex sheaths always do a great job with that. One last one from EOS. This is the Trident Balisong. We've got titanium handles, S30V steel, titanium hardware anodized gold. I'm not a Balisong aficionado. I'm not that great at flipping. I know a couple basic opens. I mean, if you can even call those tricks, I don't know. But I will say that this feels very well done. Super smooth, rather quiet, which I always think is pretty cool. Just get the soft feel of the knife just smoothly clicking into place. Very satisfying. Good momentum for sure. Nice long blade, 4.15 inches, so plenty of inertia to play with here. No latch to get in your way. Yeah, these are really nicely done. Cool complex blade grind as well. Got a one height flat grind here at the heel and another height flat grind at the tip with sort of a bulbous shape here that gives you a bit more weight swinging out in front of the blade, which really helps it move smoothly through different tricks. I think this is EOS's first Balisong. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but
They will.
I'm counting on it. It is an outstanding first effort. Hard to do right, but I think they really have something here. And I'd love to hear from the flippers in the comments if this is a popular choice for those looking for a premium Balisong, because this comes in at $425. If black and gold isn't your thing, we've also got it in plain gray titanium with some blue accents. Comes with white Cerakote finish. Pretty cool colorways on the website right now. All of them $425. Check them out if you're looking for a high-end Balisong that delivers on the details. The last knife on the table here, a kitchen knife from Kikuichi. I'm just gonna roll right into these Japanese words. From the Tatsutogi series, this is the Funayuki, a very Japanese style kitchen knife. In that we actually have a right-handed asymmetrical grind. So not a thing you tend to see in Western style kitchen knives, much more common in Japan, but it allows you to have a rather substantial blade thickness at the spine, but a super acute edge because they've actually, and this might be hard to see on camera, they've actually given this side a bit of a hollow grind. So down at the edge there, it is super, super thin. Definitely made for a right-handed cook. Left-handers, the blade is gonna be pulling the wrong direction. But as kind of an all-purpose kitchen utility knife. This is beautiful and beautifully made. So Kikuichi is an interesting company. They've been making knives in Japan for generations now. Most of their knives are forged. I'm not sure if this one is, but I will say that it's a 2-layer carbon steel. We've got white number 3 at the edge there. Good tough stuff, which is part of what allows it to have such a razor thin edge geometry. Ooh, yeah, super thin. You wouldn't normally expect to see a knife this thick with such a thin edge, but that's kind of just part of the style of these knives. And if you are interested to give this style of kitchen knife a try, this is a good place to start. Coming in at $200. It's definitely not a cheap knife, but having shopped around for Japanese kitchen knives myself, you can spend a lot more if you want to. Nice handles here, made from Japanese magnolia wood with a bit of the shun-like asymmetry going on with the handle. So very much a right-hand biased knife. If you are interested in Japanese style kitchen cutlery and right-handed, this could be for you. All right, that about wraps it up for this week's new knives video. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for checking out these new knives. Is this the last new knives video of the year?
No, I think we'll have one more.
Okay, one more left to cap off a year filled with tons of new knives. I guess as long as I'm here on camera, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everybody for being a part of this channel, for coming back and sitting here as we just kind of talk through knives. It's great to be able to do this and share this knife passion with folks all over the world through the power of the internet. I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me. I guess we'll see you soon. Bye.